Welcome to my channel, and I'm here to inspire you, give you crochet advice, and help you along with your next project. If you enjoyed this pattern, please give me a thumbs up or even comment so I can gauge your interest. It helps me to know what to film next. I'm not very formal. Here's today's zinger. Oh yes, I just love to crochet and share it with everyone. Without further ado, let's get on with today's tutorial. Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd. So my friends over at yarnspirations.com, we have a 2-in-1 today. We have the Celtic weave stitch. This is called the Celtic texture crochet blanket. You can see it this way, and you can also see it in a sense of a cowl. So both are the exact same stitch work. The only difference is that the distance in the width is different, and that's the only thing. So what I'm going to do today is an introductory course to a Celtic weave stitching. It feels awkward in your hands when you go to begin this, but once you get used to the motion of the way that things work and you use your fingers to apply the stitch work so that you can see where to go, it becomes much easier. And I did this last night, so I did the cowl in an evening. So I used Patons Alpaca Blend for this one here, and again you can change any kind of dimension that you would like to in order to create this. So once we get moving on this, it's a 2-row repeat over and over and over, and in the more information of this video you'll find a link for both of these patterns there so that you can find that. What I will tell you here is that here in the Celtic texture crochet blanket there is a fringe that is wrapped around that does a curl. We have a separate video on how to do that kind of fringe, so what I'll do is I'll link that in the more information of that article as well so that you can do that. So my main purpose today is to show you how to do the Celtic weave stitch using the same patterns, so it's just a different width in order to create that. So I'm gonna tell you how to change your dimensions, and we're gonna be doing that next. So here's what our goal is. This is what the cowl looks like when you're not wearing it. So your head would go in between underneath for sure. But when you actually crochet, what you're going to do, and this is just where it starts, is that we're going to crochet in this direction. So the blanket is done this way as well. It's just wider. And so what we need to do is get ourselves started up onto the first chain in order to create this, and then we just go as much as we want to. So this particular cowl is 28 inches in the circumference, but if you want it to be much smaller you can. The thing that you need to watch for is if I keep rotating it, I realize that I saw a mistake during the photography, and do you see where it is? I actually did it twice in the same spot of all things. There should be 2 going over top, and usually it's not proper to show mistakes, but I think it does happen once in a while, and even though that's there, I'm not even gonna say that's a deal breaker, because if somebody's gonna be counting your stitches as you're wearing it, then they don't have enough to do in their lives. So you know, it's nice to have perfect, but you know, perfect doesn't really exist, at least in my world. So let's begin, and we're going to start with our beginning chain, and let's talk about changing the width of that in that part of the instructions. So let's begin the beginning chain. I'm going to be using Patons Alpaca Blend today. It is a wool blend, so just in case you're sensitive to wool, you might want to make a mention of that. It is a chunky weight yarn. So the blanket you can chain 82, or the cowl you can chain 34. You decide. If you would like to customize and make it for something else, what you can do is chain in multiples of 4 and then 6. So what you have to just do is you go 1, 2, 3, 4. Big enough, yes or no? If no, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then keep on going if you're not satisfied. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And once you're happy with the width of this, then you have to do 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it's multiples of 4 plus 6. So let's begin the first row to go across. Let's begin by going 3rd chain from the hook, so 1 and 2, and go to the 3rd. Get the back hump of the chain because it'll look nicer, and I want you just to half double crochet the back hump of the chain. It's the 3rd one away. And once you do the first one, the chain will stay upside down. Okay, and once I'm in, I'm just going to half double crochet, and you should know that the chain I just skipped over, that spot is not a stitch in the future, so just don't count that as a stitch. So moving along your chain, just half double crochet all the way to the other side, and then meet me on the other side in a moment. And this is row number 1. As you come across on row number 1, you go right to the end and you turn. You should know that there's a lot of yarn that's required for this particular blanket in the blanket size, and even in the cowl. And the reason for it is that this stitch is so heavily textured that it uses up a lot of yarn. So I would call this a yarn pig, to be honest with you. Let's begin the second row next. So we're gonna get our second row established, and then we're going to be able to see where all of our crisscrossing is going to happen. So let's begin. You're going to chain 3, and that will count as the first double crochet out of the row. So you're gonna come here next. So you're gonna double crochet the next one. The edges will always have the same thing. We'll always have 2 double crochets. So in this case the chain 3 is a double, and then the next one is a double. So on the other side the very last 2 stitches will also be a double crochet. Now everything else in between changes the story. So what I want you to do, let's wrap our hook twice and let me chalk this out. So we have the first stitch here, the next stitch is right here. Just follow it straight on down. So the next 2 stitches here are part of the crisscross that will happen, and so those 2 stitches plus the next 2 stitches will be the crisscross. So in order to do the crisscross we have to come into the front post only, and we're gonna come into the third one that you see. So we've already wrapped twice, so you're just gonna jam the hook into the front post of that half double crochet and just stay on the front side. You're gonna yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2 all the way back to the top. So 1 and 2 and 3. Now we're going to do this again, but we're gonna do it to the one right after it. So wrap twice and then just come into the same area, and it's the one right after the other one, and just go in, pull through, through and through. Now we're going to continue, and this time we have to cross over those 2, and we're gonna cross over using those 2 that we identified earlier. So we start with the one that's furthest away from the hook, and then we do the next one. This going across on the front side is much easier. So you're gonna wrap twice, and you're gonna stay on the front of the project and come into the one that you skipped. It's the first one, and then pull through, and then pull through 2's all the way back. So 1, 2 and 3, and then we do the one right after. If things are being blocked, just move your fingers so that you can manipulate it to see the next one that you have to go into. So wrap and then go into the next front post that's available, and this will be officially the crisscross that forms the Celtic. But we're not done. We're gonna keep on going. So let's go on. We're going to do another crisscross using the next 4 that are available to you. So you skip the first 2 and you go to the third one and wrap the hook and do a front post treble into that one. So wrap and pull through 1, 2 and 3, and then you do the one right after it. So wrap twice, pull through 1, 2 and 3, and now we come to the 2 that we skipped over, going with the one that's furthest away from where you are right now. So you wrap twice and stay on the front side, and then pull through once, twice and 3 times, and then they do the one right after, and use your fingers to manipulate it so you can see the stitches. And so you're gonna keep crisscrossing like this all the way across. So I'll do it one more time because I'm coming close to the end. So I identify where the 4 are, and I identify that the first 2 I'm gonna skip over, and I'm gonna come to the third. So wrap twice and going into the third as a front post, and then do the one right after it. And now let's come back and do the ones we skipped, starting with the one that's furthest away from where you are, which is right here. And then do the next one. They're always in groups of 2. Just remember that. So you're gonna continue that all the way across, so put me on pause if you're not all the way across yet, and then I'll show you how to finish the final 2. You ready to finish the final 2? Let's do it. So you're going to pull it apart, and you can see that you have what appears to be 3. Remember that I said that spacing that you skipped over is not a stitch, so you technically only have 2. So what I want you to do is go into the next one right here, and I want you to double crochet. So you're going right back into the stitch work as normal, so you're no longer in the front post, and do the one right after it. So just make sure that you have 2 double crochet that are on the edge like that, and that would be what it would look like. So now you're gonna turn your work, and let's begin row number 2. So let's turn our work and do row number 3 and 4, which is now going to be the repeat until you're done. Row number 3, every time that you do it, it does feel awkward, and you just gotta be very patient, and you gotta use your fingers and move the stitching around. So don't be afraid to jam in your fingers in between things in order to move it, so that you can have access. So we're gonna start off, and I promised you that every time you start and finish a row, it's always the same thing. So you're gonna chain 3, and then you'll double crochet into the next one. So that'll always be the same, and the edging on the other side will always finish with 2 double crochet. So in row number, we're on the back side of the project now, and you'll see this line will appear on the back side, but the front will just appear the texture itself. So to begin, the first 2 here and the last 2 are going to be straight down. So to do that, it's still gonna be a treble, but you're gonna wrap the hook twice, and you are going to just use your fingers and come in the back side of it. So it's just gonna be a back post treble. So come in from the back and pop it out and grab that post and go out through the back. I'll show several times, and then you'll pull through, and then pull through 1, 2, and 3. So these, what you're doing is you're causing this to go straight down instead of a crisscross, and you're gonna do its friend next door. Don't be afraid to move things around if you don't see it. So wrap twice and do a back post treble. So come and separate the post out and take it back to the back, turn it over so you can see it, and then pull through, and then pull through 2 and 2 all the way back to the top. So now we're gonna start officially crisscrossing again, but the crisscross is done slightly different this time. So we're going to start, you're gonna skip the first 2, and you're gonna go and play with these 2. So they're still in groups of 4, they're just in a different spot this time. So let's wrap the hook twice and then talk. See these ones? See how they're leaning towards my hook? Those are the ones that I want. So I want the first one that's closest to me, and I'm gonna come from the back side, and I'm gonna take it out to the back. So it's all gonna be a back post treble. So you're just gonna wrap, pull through, and then 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm gonna grab its friend. The friend is always kinda hidden. You kinda don't see it there, do you? So you use your fingers and separate it so that you can see it. So wrap twice, and coming in and go back to the back. Pull through 2, 2, and 2. So those are leaning in the same direction as the last one, as the last row. This next one is awkward to get to, and you're gonna play within these 2, but you're not gonna come in front to grab them, you're gonna come from behind. So you're gonna wrap the hook twice and use your fingers and jam the hook so that you get the furthest one away from you. Come in from behind and just pick out that post. I'm making it look easy. And once you got that post, take it back to the back side, turn it over so you can see it, and then pull through, and then pull through once and twice and 3 times. So now that you got the first one, you have this next one. So the mistake that I showed you before, I must have not picked up 1. So I'm gonna wrap, and I'm just gonna come from the back, and if you don't need to turn it over, you can just move your hook to the back, pop it through, and take it to the back. Pull through once, twice, and 3 times. And what this is doing is that it's changing it so that you have a line that will go over top to make it look like the Celtic weave. So now everything else to the end of the row, except for the very last ones right here, these trebles, is always gonna be a crisscross in the same manner. So you're gonna wrap the hook twice. You're going to look for the 2, so you're gonna skip these 2 and go to these. It's the same ones that are leaning towards your hook ready to go. And so you'll come from the back side and you'll pick up the first one, pull through 2, 2 and 2, and then do the next one right after it. The next one is usually kind of hidden, so just use your fingers. If you don't see it, pull the stitches out of the way so you can grab onto it. There's no harm doing that. Now you're gonna come back to these two that you skipped, and you're gonna come from the back side. So wrapping, and just move the hook so that you can get in between the stitch work, and then move it to the back. Pull through once, twice, and 3 times, and then do its friend right here. Don't give up on yourself. This does get easier. It's awkward at first, so you just keep pulling those back, and eventually you've got the last crisscross here before the edge, so just go all the way to the edge. You can't do anything with these two or these two, so just hold there for me and I'll show you how to finish. To finish, these last two have nowhere to go other than straight up, so you're just gonna wrap the hook twice, and you're gonna treat those as a front post treble, or sorry, as a back post treble going straight up. This is what's creating the braided look, so you're gonna do both of those in a row. So just as a regular back post treble. Then finally the last two are going to each be 1 double crochet each. This is a turning chain, so make sure you go into the actual chain work itself. Don't go into a space because it'll stay open, and just go right into the space. And that was completing row number 3. So you can kind of now see how things are gonna form, and let's begin number 4 next. To begin number 4, you're just going to chain 3 and double crochet in the next. We've already talked about that before. Now row number 4 is the same as row number 2. So you're gonna skip the first 2 and you're gonna come into these 2 here. And so you're just gonna start with the third one away, which is right here. It's leaning towards the hook, ready to go, and you're gonna make this as a front post treble. And you're gonna do the next one after it. So it's easy to see when you're on the front side where to go. Now you have to crisscross back over the front side, and you're gonna go into these 2, and you're gonna go to this one right here. It's the furthest one away, and make that a front post treble. And this is going to turn the Celtic weave so that it has a beautiful edge. So you do that one plus its friend next door. And when you pull this back over, you're gonna see that a nice edge is going to happen, and it's going to turn the Celtic weave. Now you're going to do the next crisscross. So these 2 are the next one. They're kind of hidden behind here, so just move it if you don't see it. And then you got these 2. So you're looking for the ones that are facing your hook, and do the first one that's closest to you as a front post treble, and then the next one, and then this one. The crisscross, just use your fingers if you don't see it, and just use your finger and pop it out of the back end, and just do a front post treble starting with the furthest one away, and then the next one. See, and now you can see the stitch work is starting to dive under each other. So then you keep on going along. We have one more to do before the edge, and so we look for the third one away, which is this one going straight up. So if you're getting close to the edge, that's where you're gonna be, and then do the next one after. And so this causes that one on the edge to also turn inward, and then you do the 2 that you skipped over. So you have to understand that row number 4, every time you do it, you're crisscrossing all completely across except for the very first 2 and the last 2, where the other one in row number 3 you have to start off with the front post treble that goes straight on down. So once you get to all the way to the edge, you're just going to double crochet into your final 2. And what I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna recap then row number 3 again, just to make sure that you get it so you can see more being done. And so we'll turn our work and start row number 3 again. So let's recap number 3. You're going to chain 3 and you're going to double crochet in the next one. The first 2 are going to be straight down, so it's a front post treble straight down, and it's a back post treble straight down. I apologize for that. I forgot that I turned it. So it's a back post treble straight on down. Now you're going to start crisscrossing. So you skip the first 2 and go to these 2, and it's facing towards your hook. If you turn it over, you can see that. So you're gonna get to the first one and everything is a back post treble, and then you do the next one after it. And the tricky part is the next one that crosses back over, and it's gonna go into these 2. So you're just gonna wrap the hook and just move your hook in behind and isolate those one by one. So you're gonna get the one that's furthest away from you and pull it back. And then the next one. Once you get the first one, the next one, it's just really easy to see where it is. And you're gonna keep doing that across. So let me show you again. So wrap the hook twice and you're gonna come in to these 2 over here. So you're skipping the first 2 and you're just gonna isolate those one by one. And then finally these 2 that you skipped, you come from behind and you isolate one by one. So once you get it, pull it up and pull it behind and finish it, and then do the next one. See, it's kind of just sitting in limbo on its own. So you'll do this all the way across, and as you get close to the end you'll have these 2 that are by themselves and then your edge. So these 2 by themselves will just be a front post treble straight on down. So in row number 4 what happens is that it pulls it back into the center of the project again, and then the very final 2 is a double crochet. Let's recap number 4 one more time to make sure you got it. So you can see more and more of the Celtic weave is happening. Let's do number 4 one more time. Let's recap number 4 one more time, and you're just gonna chain 3 and you'll double crochet into the first one that you have. So you got 2 in a row. You're going to crisscross using those 4. So you're just gonna start and stay on the front side as a front post treble. So you're skipping over the first 2 going into the third, and then to crisscross you're gonna go back into these starting with the furthest one away, and that causes that to turn back into the center of the project. See that? So you get these beautiful edges coming in. You'll crisscross again, so skipping these 2 and going to these 2 over here starting with the first one. It's easy to tell where to go because the stitches are leaning towards each other where you need to go. And then these ones are a little more awkward to find, so just use your finger and ply them out. So you got 2 of those. That's part of the crisscross. And because this is row number 4, you're just gonna crisscross right into the end. So skipping these 2 that are behind this one, if you don't see it, just pull it out. So right here is your next one. Okay, and then ply the other ones out from the background and do that. So that's all you need to do with this Celtic weave. For the blanket you just work your way up until you get to the size that you would like to do. The blanket size is almost 49 inches total, and that includes a portion of the fringe that will be done. So in the final 2 here, don't forget you're just going to double crochet. So the cowl is worked up to 28 inches, and if you're doing the cowl and you want to finish it to form the circle, let's show you how to do that next. If you want to finish the cowl, here's what you're going to do. This is the front of the project, this is the back. You can clearly tell the difference. So fold it so that the back of the project is facing out, so the wrong side is facing, and I want you just to come into the first stitch here and match it to the first stitch on the other side, and I want you just to slip stitch So then you come to the next stitch and the next stitch. Remember, slip stitching is always a little tight, so you want to be a little bit flexible with giving it a little bit more yarn as you pull it through. And essentially, instead of sewing, you're just slip stitching this closed, and what you're doing is finishing the concept all completely. So the cowl can be sized at any size, and you can do this, and it's neat. And then once you're done this, you just put the outside facing, outside right, and it looks pretty good. Okay, so let me just turn it around just to give you an indication of what it looks like. So the cowl would then have a center hole. It would obviously be much bigger than this, and then you can see that it will have all the beautiful stitch work like that. So this is the Celtic weave stitch. The cowl is available to you, same as the blanket. It's in the more information of this video, and for those that would like to do the fringe of the blanket, I'll provide that in the more information article as well, and there's a video on how to do that as well. So that's it for today, and we hope you have a good one, and this is the Celtic weave stitch.